There's a surprising amount that Dokkan doesn't tell you about its hidden potential system. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another beginner's guide for you new players to Dokkan Battle. In our previous videos, we covered the basics of a unit, teaching you guys about the type system, its advantages, its disadvantages, and how different characters play a role and gain certain stat buffs based on their typing. We also talked about the unit's kit, that is their passives, their super attacks, and all of the things that make a unit unique amongst your team. In this video, we're going to be focusing on the hidden potential system, how it affects the unit, how it affects their stat increases, and what kind of skills they gain by being fully invested in it. In a future video, we will talk about the link skills system, we'll talk about team building, and how all of these things play a role in adding different types of units to your team. Through that video, we will also talk about acquiring new units, when to summon, how to summon, and how to acquire new free-to-play units and awaken them. We'll also spend time talking about item and resource management during those dry celebrations where you need to be focusing on awakening your units, how to manage your items carefully. Finally, once all is said and done, you guys will help me build a team and take on a challenge of your choosing. So with that said, let's go ahead, let's hop into the hidden potential system. We will be using the Dokkan Wiki as our guide, along with some stuff in game. So first thing you need to note about the hidden potential system is you need to be rank 50 or above in order to access it. So if you are a brand new rank 1 player, you just downloaded the game, you do not have access to this system. Here's the good news though. If you are playing, if you are grinding out the story mode, you will reach rank 50 in no time. By the time you start getting to the later stages, 15 and up, the amount of XP you are getting towards your rank per stage is phenomenal, and it will get you well past 100 in no time quick. Once that is done, or I mean sometime within that time, as long as you have cleared stage 2 of an epic showdown, that is this stage here. This is the stage for gathering up the basic Goku, where the game teaches you. This is basically the previous tutorial Goku. You clear stage 2 of this event, and you will have access to the hidden potential system. Now, if you are a brand new player and you are filling out your version Z board, you've probably done this already, so no issues there. Now, when I talk about the hidden potential system that you now have access to, this is a system that requires the use of what we're going to call hidden potential orbs. They are these little orbs you see right here on screen. They come in 3 different sizes and can be given to any unit who is UR or higher, meaning they are rank level 80 and Z awakened at a minimum. Once they are TUR or LR status, you can also still fill in the orbs. But they come in 3 categories, small, medium, large, and can be acquired from various stages, missions, and login bonuses as you play the game. We have special characters who use their own orbs, but most characters use one of the type orbs that are available daily in Dokkan Battle. All of these characters here, you may have noticed if you've been grinding out your Bardock and your Ginyu squad, that they all have special orb notes. So we won't really be referencing them in this video, but know that they exist. Know that their layout is slightly different than the typical layout for any unit utilizing the hidden potential system, and their total stat buff acquired from the full investment is slightly different. So just something worthy of note, that these characters are here, but they won't be the focus in this video. Basically, as I mentioned in my type video, every character of a certain typing has a specific stat layout, and that stat layout is corresponding to a specific rank and required amount of hidden potential orbs, and various ranks apply certain stat buffs. So for example, right, we have a rank S AGL type would require 4,310 small orbs and 2,470 medium orbs and 223 large orbs. Characters who fully maxed out with this would gain 6,440 to HP, 7,000 to attack, and 7,560 to their total stat buffs at rainbow status, fully maxed out. Now, this would apply to certain characters like these two here, right? The Super Saiyan 3 Gokus. Other examples of this, right? If we were to be a rank A Fizz type, we are getting 5,400 to our HP, 5,000 to our attack, and 4,600 to our defense. Rank A Fizz characters are characters like the Z Goku and Vegeta, the MVP 17, the Fizz Bardock, who it has an easy A, the LR 7 years, the Ultimate Gohan. All of these characters would gain that specific buff by being fully maxed out with this many orbs. There are all kinds of characters. We have special characters like the Hero Extermination Plan characters. All of these guys have a flat 5,000 buff when fully invested in these. Now, I know what you're thinking. That seems like a lot of orbs. 4,000 small orbs. How am I supposed to get these? Well, you are in luck, because you can get most of these, like I said, through login bonuses, through missions during various campaigns, but you can also get quite a significant amount by completing daily hidden potential events. In your growth area of Dokkan, you will notice on the daily these changing hidden potential events. On Monday, you can tackle the AGL hidden potential event, which can grant you several different options for gaining more orbs of the AGL types that can be used for AGL characters. On Tuesdays, you can tackle the Tech hidden potential stage to gain orbs for Tech characters. On Wednesdays, you can tackle the Int stage to gain orbs for Int type characters. Thursdays, STR, and Fridays, Fizz types. On the weekends, there is no type available, but sometimes there are special campaigns where there is a daily event that allows you to gather all of the orbs every single day. So make sure whenever that's available, you take full advantage of it. But it only comes around like twice a year. So just know that on the daily, you should be running this event to help build up your stash of orbs. As a new player, you may start out small, but the completion of this on the daily will build up over time. Now, every character has a special skill set and a certain amount of skills that they can have at different type levels. So the different skills are recovery boost, super attack boost, type defense boost, type attack boost, evasion, critical hit, combo attacks. All of these are skills that apply to various different units. Now remember, in our type video we mentioned that between evasion, critical hit, and combo attack, different characters get different types, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But let's talk about what each one of them do, because it'll help you to decide how you want to build a unit, and I'll show you some of the basic builds that I use here in a minute. So talk about recovery boost. Recovery boost increases your ability to recover from collecting same type key spheres. So example, if you have a tech unit collecting tech type orbs, they will gain an HP buff based on this. So at a perfect max level, assuming no skill orb investment, you can actually get up to 15, which creates a 75% increase in your ability to heal per orb. So it's actually very, very helpful. It's also, it takes into the unit's defense stat. So you see the equation they have listed here. It's 0.030 plus 0.0015 times the recovery boost times your defense stat. So the greater the defense stat, the greater your health recovery. So you think a stacking type unit who can gain a great amount of defense, they are going to quickly recover your HP. You also have super attack boost. This will slightly increase the output of your super attack, basically making it slightly more powerful despite the SA level. It does not affect the... It isn't affected by any type of SA effects, but it is affected by the multiplier, right? So if you went from super attack 15 to, or super attack 10 to super attack 15, this would be affected by that, but it's not affected by like a change by the attack multipliers that we talked about before, like colossal, mega colossal, etc. You also have type defense boost. This basically increases your defense when guard is up against the type you have advantage over. The higher your ability, the lower amount of damage you take. On the other hand, you have type attack boost. Against characters you do not have type advantage against, it increases your ability to deal damage. All of these have a flat no matter what type of 15 max. Now, if you add in skill orbs to that, which we'll talk about in a minute, you can increase that even further. So it is very helpful to invest in these skills, especially recovery on your stacking type units. It will greatly help. The type attack and type defense really depend on the character, but you'll definitely always want to be pushing this or this for most characters. Now, the evasion, critical hit, and additional attack. Evasion is increased by a rare chance. The higher ability, the more likely you are to dodge. So at max level for all types except int, you are getting a 15% increase in your chance to dodge if you fully invested in a rainbow unit at dodge. So that is realistically not that much of a percent, but it may be the 15% you need to save your butt. Because int type units have an innate 5%, as we talked about in our type video, int type units have an innate 5%. Their actual increase is 20%. So if you were to have a dodging unit, int is usually the type to go with, right? Critical hits, as we talked about before, increase your chance to critical hits and the damage dealt upon performing a critical hit. It allows you to bypass the enemy's type disadvantage and their guard as well. The higher it is, the more you deal. So for Tech and STR, as we mentioned in our type video, they are the critical hit types. So they get a 40% increase at max level, max hidden potential, with fully invested in critical hits. If you fully invest a unit in additional, you have a 50% chance to perform a super attack with a rare chance to perform an actual attack. So at max level for AGL and Fizz type, these are the ones I mentioned before, you're getting a 40% increase. For all other types, it is a 30% increase. So the type of investment you want depends on the type of character. I'll go over a few examples of characters like this here in a video, but know that characters who have built-in additionals, you'll probably want to go mostly critical hit, maybe with a little combo to get that extra little hit, because then instead of launching, you know, 1 or 2 supers, you might launch 3 or 4, but still dealing critical hits. Characters that have built-in crit, obviously the ants, or effective against tall types, you'll want to go with combo attacks, since they already have the ability to bypass type disadvantage and deal critical damage. So things to be considered, and like I said, I will go over what this looks like in game here in a second. The different nodes will raise by a certain amount, and they affect that final variable, right? So at, where is it? at max level, certain characters are getting over 2,000 extra to HP, 7,000 to at max, 2,000 at 55%, 7,000 at max for attack, etc., for defense. So depending on the character, it can change, but all in all, it is definitely worth it to invest in your character. So let's go ahead, let's roll into our game here, and let's kind of show you what this looks like in game. Alright, so we are in game here. So once you've reached ranked 50 and you've cleared that beginner stage that we talked about, you'll have access to this little menu here called Hidden Potential. It's the one with the Gohan. Once you click on it, it will take you to a screen that looks like this. For the purposes of our video, we will actually be using the free-to-play Goku from the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about here. So you can see the layout, you can see our orb nodes here, you can see like the different red orbs representing the attack nodes, the blue representing the defense nodes, and the teal representing the HP nodes. Basically, for any unit, you would want to fill in all of these to give them the max amount of buffs. And you can see in game, if you were to take a 0% unit like this Goku that we're using here into an event, they would be significantly weaker with 0 investment. For most characters, in order to invest in them, the quickest way to do it, if they are 55% like this Goku is here, because we have not fed in the additional characters to them, we're going to talk about that in a second. The simplest way to do this now, post version Z, is to click the Activate All button. Once you activate it all, it'll show you the amount of stat increases you're getting and which potential skills are being activated by doing so. So as an AGL unit, you'll see that this Goku is gaining a 5 combo attack. He's gaining 780 to attack, defense, and HP, and he's gaining 5 to HP recovery, 4 to super attack, 4 to type defense, and 5 to type attack. You will see that to fully invest a 55% unit for this AGL unit, it is taking 1,510, 6,770 medium. Did I say 6,000? 670 medium and 57 large. So realistically, for a 55% unit, if this were a summonable unit, you wouldn't be investing that much for the 55%. Where it starts to add up is when we start talking about 100% units. So for this unit, the next step, once you fill in their hidden potential, so we're actually not going to do fill in the full hidden potential with this guy, because then I would have to waste some orbs here on him, which I don't want to do because I already have this guy rainbowed. But once you've filled in their 55%, you'll want to go ahead and feed in the dupes. To feed in a dupe of a character, you simply click on the button here, and it will ask you to select the character and tell you how many orbs it'll take to do it. So you'll see here I have 4 extra copies of this Goku. You'll notice on the side that I have another copy that can't be used because he's locked, and then I have his awakened status, the blue Goku, who is rainbowed at full EZA. Notice that I cannot feed him in even if I unlock him. Okay, and that is because for the hidden potential system, you can only feed in the exact dupe of the character. If I wanted to feed this guy in, I would have to reverse him, a process we're going to talk about in a minute, back to his SSR form, and then I can feed him in. So it's imperative that you also maintain another item called hourglasses. Those hourglasses will allow you to reverse the characters and feed them in. Now, obviously, we wouldn't even do that anyway, since we would be feeding in a max copy into a non-max copy. So in order to fill that in, I simply click on it, my character that I want to feed in, and I feed him in. Just like that, it will unlock the node. And then I will be able to fill in all of those nodes. You'll notice, well, I can't show you on this because I don't have the super attack, but let's fill in the other side here. You can fill in the other side here, and then I can see I can add the skill that I want to add. You're given choices on what you want to add, and And that will vary from character to character, but there's a basic layout for what you want to do. So if we go to if we go to the different characters, for example, to show you what I mean by the different layouts, right? There's basically 4 paths you can take. There is the bottom right path, which gives the most amount of skills. So if we see here, right, the bottom right path gives the most amount of skill, leaning towards power. And the other side gives more defense. So if we can show, they actually show it. This is one of the few things they do actually show in game. Oh, what's going on? Why is it not? Why does it stop? Oh, it doesn't show it. Okay, so let's flip over to the wiki then, and we'll show you there. Okay, so over here on the wiki, I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So there are basically 4 routes you can take with your potential, right? The high growth route will lead to more attack, more defense. The balanced route, the top left corner, will kind of give you a balanced addition to both stats. If you go the right side, that will raise your super attack more, but then you're giving up your skills by going this way. This is typically only reserved for... I would almost never say go that route first. And then the bottom route is mostly for HP and defense. So if you have a high defense character or a character with an innate dodge ability or something like that, you may prefer to go this route if you know it's a character you're not going to pull too many dupes of. But the general consensus is for the routes, you want to go bottom right first because it grants you access to the critical hit and additional skill orbs, and then go the top left after that. So if you're dealing with free-to-play units, this is no big deal. You just grind out the 4 copies and fill in all 4 slots. But if you're dealing with a summonable unit, someone who you may not pull all of the copies right away, you'll always want to plan to go bottom right, top left, and top right, and then bottom left. That is the typical route for most units. I say most because there are some exceptions, but most units are gonna want to go these routes. Now, as far as the basic skills are concerned, there are certain characters that have certain types of layouts, and so I'm gonna head back to the game and show you what I'm talking about here. So, example, I'm going to use Tech Ultimate Gohan as my example. Alright, so let's go Tech Superclass. Where is he? He's down here somewhere, here. Alright, so we have Tech Ultimate Gohan here. Here is his layout that I have set him up with. We'll go with a few other examples, but for him, this guy is a stacking unit. He greatly raises his attack and defense every single turn. So that means he's getting more defense every turn. His innate attack isn't that powerful, right? If we look at his stats, for a TUR, it's okay, but it's actually not that great. Where he really excels is his defense. So what I have done is I have invested fully all of his orbs into additional. So every time I clicked one of those orbs we saw on the other screen, I gave him an additional attack. Now, if I wanted to change this to critical hit, I would have to click on the orb node here, right? And then it will ask me to either use 5 Dragon Stones to change it, or feed in a dupe. I highly recommend not doing this unless there is a special event where they lower the cost down to 1 stone, then maybe it's okay. But otherwise, I would just, if you happen to make a mistake, you kind of just have to hold on to it and live with it until you have the ability to change it. But I say all of that to say, like, a character like Gohan, because he's raising attack and defense infinitely, you will want to invest in him in additionals. So we have him fully invested in additionals, and then we gave him some recovery. So with his recovery, this guy actually can almost, after a few turns, can almost fully heal you with a good amount of orbs. Like if he picked up 5 or 6 orbs, you've basically got a full heal from this guy after a couple of turns of defensive build. So characters who stack defense, there's 2 priorities you want to take with them: additionals and healing, because healing is always helpful. Other types of units you have units like, I will use, let's see, who's a good example here? Let's see. We have okay, yeah. So like Cooler here, for example. Cooler is a high offense unit, right? He also has built-in additionals. So since he has built-in additionals, and he doesn't really gain any extra defense from them, aside from the innate bit from his passive, we can lean into the critical hits for him. So you'll notice we've went fully into the critical hits for him. We give him a little bit of additional, simply so he can have that chance to launch an extra super. But for the most part, because he's a high offense unit, even at 69%, we can reach some pretty high levels of critical hit with him. So it really depends on your type of character. If you have an infinitely stacking defense character, go additionals. If you have an infinitely stacking attack character, go critical hit, because they can hit very hard, especially when that unit has built-in critical hits. Now, if you have characters like the LR Gods, for example, okay, these guys kind of do a whole lot of both. They are effective against all types, right? If we look at their stuff, when they get their 24 key. So they really can take advantage of using additional attacks over critical hits because of that effective against all types. So these are just some basic considerations you want to consider when building units. So like this Goku here, our main Goku that we were using for our example, as I showed you, we started by going bottom right, then top left. Next, we would invest our top right. Okay, and then we would invest our bottom left. And with that, we would have a fully duped out unit, and we can feed in super attack, get them up to super attack 10, because in order to fill out the bottom right, you have to raise your character up to super attack 10. And that is a whole other video that we're going to talk about, but know that in order to do that, they have to be super attack 10. Once that's done, I can then start filling out the nodes. I can click activate all, and then I can add my nodes. So if we were to look at this character, you want to look at their fully EZA stats, or what they do when they are awakened. So this Goku, when he awakens, he raises attack for 1 turn, and he doesn't do much else. So he doesn't really gain anything from going additional or critical hit. So in that case, you know, you're not wrong to go either or. It depends on your playstyle. If you want that little extra attack for the second hit, you go for additional attack. Right? If you would prefer to hit hard on a single attack, you go for the extra critical hit. It really just depends. Or if you know he's not going to deal damage at all, you just go full dodge. But I don't usually recommend doing that. Most units don't benefit from that. There are very few units in the game who do benefit from that. But I mean, that's just an example of some of the basic types of characters you would encounter and how you want to build them. But just remember, the basic is when you invest your units, when you add in your dupes, if it's a character you've already awakened, you do have to reverse them and then feed in the dupes. You always want to feed in bottom right, top left, top right, bottom left, in that order, with very few exceptions. Now, when we talk about reverse, right, if we want to reverse a character, reverse can be done from this tab here. You simply go into the reverse and you select the character you want to reverse. And as long as you have the hourglass item, you can reverse that character down to their previous stats, allowing you to add in into the hidden potential of whatever new unit you pulled. Now, it is recommended that you just do it straight from the hidden potential window, because if you do it that way, it will actually, I don't think I have any dupes I can fill in, but it will actually prompt you when you click on here to reverse one of the units, or to reverse the unit in order to add in the dupes. So that's the very nice thing that you can do. So that's kind of it that I wanted to show you in game. For now, we're going to go ahead, we're going to head back to the wiki, and we're going to talk about one last thing before we close out here. So back in the wiki here, all right, as we said, we want to focus on where is it? Skill orbs. Okay. Once you've reversed your unit, you've added the dupes in, you filled out their hidden potential to your liking, you can add in one more thing, and that is skill orbs. Skill orbs allow your unit at the various levels to gain extra buffs from their various skills, right? You gain access to the various levels depending on how much you've invested into the character. So the bronze slot is gained by accessing the hidden potential menu, awakening him to the UR status. The silver slot is gained by awakening their super attack to level 10, and the gold slot is for characters who have 2 or more paths open. So if it's a summonable unit, you may not always see the gold slot. Like you noticed with my LR Cooler that I showed, he only had the silver slot available because I only had 1 dupe in him, versus the Gohan that we showed had the gold slot available because we had all dupes invested in him. Now, this will allow you to sort of min-max your character. It is always recommended that you use your skill orbs to maximize a character's potential. So, for example, like we did with that Gohan, right? Gohan is built for additionals. You give him all of the additionals, right? The Cooler, same thing. Built for crits. You give him all of the crits. There are very, very, very few units who benefit from mixing it up with the two. Usually you want to take full advantage in one direction or the other. The only exceptions are characters who kind of do both already in their passive. We have a few like that, like the Fizz Gogeta, for example, the 3rd-year LR EZA. He can do both. He has additionals, he has dodge, he has effective against all types, and crits. So units like that are about the only ones that can benefit from doing a sort of mixed build, since they kind of already do it all. But for the most part, you want to use your skill orbs to maximize the potential of your unit. So if we hop back into the game here, I know I'm doing a lot of transition, but there's a lot of stuff I want to make sure that you know for when you start to invest in your characters. So for example here with our Goku, if we chose to go additionals in him, we would just go ahead, we would scroll down here, we would find an additional skill orb that we have, we would give it to him, right? So I do have some infinite ones, so I'll just use one of those because I can take them off later, right? I would add that to him. I would go to his goal, I would go to his silver tab if I had the super attack 10 in him, and I would give him that. If I had the, let's see, do I have an infinite one for gold? I don't think I do. I think I used it already. But if I had an infinite gold one, I would use that as well, and fully invest this guy for additionals, right? Like I said, you want to maximize your unit potentials with your skill orbs. Never try to use it to make up the difference unless the character kind of has both available within their kit. So, I know that was a lot to process, guys. I know that's a lot of information. It's a pretty long video, but the hidden potential system is very, very robust, and there is a lot that is covered in the system, and it's important that you know it, you understand it, because you don't want to make the mistakes like I did, not understanding the system and accidentally feeding the wrong dupes into the wrong paths, right? Not leveling up super attacks, or accidentally feeding in the wrong dupe, like your awakened unit into your unawakened. I've actually done that by accident early on in my playing, not understanding the hidden potential system. So I wanted to put this out here and take my time with it to make sure you guys all understand how the system works, how it benefits your units, how it buffs your units with the various stat increases for the different types of units, and how to acquire orbs on the daily. Hopefully you guys found this guide helpful. If you did, make sure you leave a like and leave a comment down below. Let me know, what has been your experience with the hidden potential system? Are you someone who didn't really understand it before, or was this something that was just oh so natural to you? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyways, guys, like I said, that is the end of the video. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.